Is Super Mario 64 a horror game? No, not even close. But after making videos on Wet Dry World and Hazy Maze Cave and Big Boo's Haunt, I've noticed something interesting in the comments. There are two groups of people. One group completely understands what I'm talking about when I describe a level as unsettling. They'll say things like, "I've always felt that way too," or "I thought I was the only one who found that area weird." Then there's the other group who thinks I'm completely overthinking a game about a plumber collecting stars. And honestly, I understand both sides. The reason I understand both sides is because when I call a level unsettling, I'm not saying it's scary. Mario 64 isn't Silent Hill. I'm not even saying Nintendo intended on making anything scary or unsettling. What I'm talking about is a feeling that certain places in the game create. Let me explain this. But first, thank you so much for clicking on the video. Don't forget to drop a like and consider subscribing for more content like this. Think about real life for a second. There are places that aren't dangerous, but still feel strange. Like walking through a school at night or an empty mall. You know, places that should have people there but don't. I think Mario 64 has a few places that create the same sort of feeling. And the more I've thought about it, the more I've realized it's not about one level. It's something that is consistent throughout the whole game itself. One thing that makes Mario 64 feel different from a lot of games is how lonely it can be. There aren't cutscenes, dialogue, or NPCs outside of a few toads here and there, and the enemies within the courses. Mario 64 doesn't really work that way. Most of the time, you jump into a painting, grab the star, get out, and move on to the next. After long stretches of gameplay, you come to realize it's just you and Mario exploring these giant places alone. I never thought about that as a kid, because that's just how the game worked. Looking back now though, I think that loneliness is part of where that creepy nostalgic feeling comes from. So let's talk about Hazy Maze Cave for example. I made a video about that level, and some people completely understood what I meant, and others thought I was reaching. But what stands out to me about Hazy Maze Cave isn't that it's scary, it's that it feels disconnected from the rest of the game. You're underground, so there's no sky. There aren't bright colors. You're surrounded by narrow walkways and toxic gas. It almost feels like you're exploring a place that wasn't built for Mario, because most levels give off that Mushroom Kingdom vibe. And Wet Dry World creates a different feeling. I don't think Wet Dry World is that scary either, but it has always felt strange. Looking off in the distance and you see a city, but then look up and realize you're underwater, and the logic just doesn't make sense. Nothing is really happening around here, and it's hard to understand what this level even is. Most games explain what a place is supposed to be. Mario 64 doesn't. Nobody's around to tell you who built this or why it exists. Because of that, your brain gets to write the story. And for me, being alone in a world without explanation is unsettling. Big Boo's Haunt is the obvious one. It's a haunted house, so of course it's supposed to feel spooky. But I think Big Boo's Haunt gets less interesting discussion than some of the other levels because everyone already understands what it's going for. It's the levels that aren't trying to be creepy that creates the bigger conversations. Another factor to consider is the limitations of the Nintendo 64. So there will naturally be empty spaces and simple textures and lack of NPCs. That limitation creates something memorable. If Mario 64 had modern graphics and more characters, or even more dialogue, it wouldn't feel as mysterious. It's not about what's around you, it's what's not there that makes the level feel unsettling. Atmosphere is subjective. Two people can listen to the exact same song and it would have completely different emotional reactions. This game works the same way. Some may feel focused on the atmosphere and mood, while others may be more focused on mechanics and gameplay. We're experiencing the same game, but paying attention to different things. Imagine going to a garage sale and you pick up an old cartridge of Mario 64. You turn it on and there's a save file sitting there with 64 stars. There's a story behind that save file. Who played it and why did they stop there? The game doesn't know any time has passed. The castle is the exact same, and the stars are exactly how they were left. Everything was frozen in time, along with memories of the individual who played the game, and the gameplay that led to the stars that are collected. For some reason, that sort of thing comes with an eerie feeling that you just can't recreate in modern games today. It's not just game progress, it's a time capsule. So again, I'll ask, is Mario 64 a horror game? No. But I don't think that's really the right question. A better question is, why do some people remember parts of the game differently than others? Why are we still talking about Wet Dry World? Why do entire communities still talk about Mario 64 mysteries nearly 30 years later? I think the answer is simple. When you play Mario 64, you become part of the game, something that creates wonder. Sometimes that creates nostalgia, and sometimes it creates a feeling that is just a little unsettling. Thank you so much for watching. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. You should see more videos on screen. If you'd like, check some of them out. But for now, until next time.